Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Nate. I've done a bunch of different series here on YouTube, as well as producing content for Instagram and the rest of that. And this is the first video where I start to share my hobby that I recently picked up of flying FPV drones. I've been huge into drones before, mostly focused on stuff like the Mavics and cinematography type drones. This is a whole new ball of wax for me, and honestly, this is my first day out here flying my drone in what's called Acro mode, or manual mode, whatever you want to call it. This is the first time I've ever flown without angle mode, which is the self-leveling. So far I've flown 6 packs before starting today. Today I just flew 5 more packs, one of them half in angle mode just to kind of get myself warmed up. Then I moved right to Acro mode, and I have to say, it worked pretty well. Pretty good for my first time in manual mode, I have to say, at least in my own personal opinion. Footage came out okay. Drone came back in one piece. Just so you know, I did cheat a little bit. That intro was filmed after I flew for the first time because I was just excited. As you can see, the sky is turning a bit gray, so I'm a little worried about rain. So I really wanted to get up there, get flying, and really give her a go for the first time manual mode because I was kind of dreading it. I spent a ton of time in simulators. I really appreciate both Nurk, who said Hat is from, Nurk FPV, I'll link his YouTube channel below, as well as Rotor Riot and Joshua Bardwell. All of them have been excellent introductory guides into FPV, and I really appreciate all of their advice and help. Just kind of getting together, figuring out what I needed, what I wanted to try, and giving me a good step into the hobby. So just so you're aware, I started with the little baby, I think it's called a TinyHawk II drone. That was really where I started flying the FPV type drones. It's just something a little to rip around inside the house, get used to how everything felt. I have never put that into Acro mode, just so you know. I just never felt really comfortable with how quick it kind of whips around. Acro mode is definitely tough on those. So there's no issues, I feel, at least for my own personal journey, jumping into Acro mode on the big drone without ever really getting good with Acro mode on the little drone. What I will say, and the most important thing, is I spent a ton of time playing the Liftoff simulator that's on PC. I think it's on PC, and it's on, you can play it on Mac, as well as there's a console port, but you can't use your radio. So that I would highly recommend. That simulator in Acro mode, very close to what it's actually like flying the real drone in Acro mode. It helped. I feel like my successful flight here pretty much sold me on the fact that start with the simulator, throw 30, 40, 50 hours into that. Then when you jump to a drone, you've got a huge head start and you can really get into more of the fun stuff. Flying, flipping, all that flippity floppity stuff, as I think as Ladrib would call it. But either way, let me give you a quick run through of the stuff that I have here with me that I used for my flight. So without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off with the radio, this is what I used on the simulator. It's a Taranis R9 Lite. It works very well, has decent gimbals. I will definitely say it's probably worth the money to spend a little more and get one that actually charges off USB, because as it stands right now, it is a little annoying having to charge all of the different batteries, including these guys right here. They look kind of like big AAAs or big AA's, but they're not. They have their own separate charger. It's a little annoying. I wish I could just charge the remote, but hey, for how much this costs, especially during the pandemic, great starter remote. It also lets you flash firmware for receivers, which is super, super helpful. But again, we'll get into that. Well, I won't get into that. I'll link other videos that'll get into that. I started with a basic pair of box goggles, because again, I do want to go towards digital, so I didn't want to spend a ton to get nicer goggles. So it's an Eachines box goggle. It works very well. You'll see I do have different antennas on there. The Lumineer AX2s, diversity antenna and an patch antenna. As you can see, it's over there in that box. Really like it more than the stock antennas that come with the goggles, and they are like 20 bucks, so it's not too bad. This is the CineWhoop style drone. As you can see, it's a little grassy. I had a little bump on the ground, but all in all, frame fared perfectly. 3D printed GoPro mount there, a little FPV camera. So for those who don't know, this is how the video was recorded. This is what I see transmitted to the goggles via that little antenna on the back. So again, that's the drone. Taycan 3 by Diatone, excellent. This is just my box of all the random stuff to basically use my phone as a viewing thing, extra props for my baby drone, and then other odds and ends that I might need at the field. Here's my pile of batteries. I went through all of these this morning. All 6S, some by Lumineer, this one full send by iFlight, and I think these are China Hobby. Yeah. And then this is the TinyHawk. TinyHawk II to be precise. It's basically a little itty bitty TinyHawk drone. It's great for flying around indoors, not really outdoors. It can do it. Somewhere here I've got stashed a ton of batteries, LiPo battery bag, So all of these batteries, I'm terrified of LiPo batteries catching fire. This basically prevents that. It's a fireproof bag. Yeah. Because you can see, even see on the bag, never leave charging batteries unattended. So this basically not for keeping them safe while charging. It's really more for keeping them safe outside charging. And then finally, a bunch of props. Oh, and actually here's a fistful of tiny Whoop batteries, which again, great to keep around. Other than that, this is basically my kit. As you can see, these are the first antennas, also the first antennas. The first props that I've had on this drone. They've held up excellent so far. I probably am going to change them in a little bit anyway, just for funsies, maybe change it to a different color. But other than that, that's my beginner FPV kit and my start of my FPV journey. So yeah, thank you again for joining me on my channel. Once again, thank you to all of the great YouTube channels for FPV, Rotor Riot, Ladrib, Nurk, FPV, and Joshua Bardwell. If you have questions about FPV, feel free to leave them in the comments. Feel free to message me here or on Instagram. I don't mind answering your questions if I can. If not, go to those YouTube channels. Honestly, especially Joshua Bardwell, if you have any weird questions at all, like I had a question this morning because I got a RPM filtering error. He actually helped me troubleshoot it here at the field because I do carry the proper cables with me, which again, #1 rule of FPV, make sure you don't forget stuff because you're gonna run into issues. You're gonna need to change your props. You're gonna need to do all sorts of weird things. Bring all the stuff with you need. Trust me, it'll save you. It'll make your day a lot better. And yeah, that's all. Thank you again for joining me. Hope you have a good day. I hope I still can't close these videos out. Thank you again for joining me. Catch y'all later. Peace. Bye.